Hello everyone and welcome to the Red Path. My name is Dara and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to convert up some custom Exalted 8-bound for your World Leaders army. So grab yourselves a brew and let's dive in. We're going to kick things off with the core of the miniature, starting with the torso. I'm using a back piece from the Cataphractii Terminator kit here, and there isn't too much to do with this, but it is important to carve away some of the hood around the helmet to make space for the helm that we're going to slot in. A variety of Terminator kits would probably work here, so don't feel too restricted by having to use Cataphractii. I then fitted an 8-bound chest piece to the front of the torso. Getting this to line up perfectly with the back piece is kind of tricky, and inevitably there will be some gaps, but most of these will be covered up by the arms when they come in. Play around with the positioning, especially after the glue has melted the plastic, since it gives you a little bit more leeway to reposition the piece. One thing about the 8-bound that always annoyed me was the crop top look. To up armor the Entombed this unit, I've taken the abdominal section from the Cataphractii Terminator legs. Scoring the cut with a knife first helps the removal, but it still requires some post-op cleanup. Adding this in may seem a little bit trivial, but it helps to build a silhouette of a heavily armored miniature. I'm just using the normal 8-bound legs for the lower half of the core. They're already very dynamic and interesting and add some nice height to the miniature too. By cutting off the upper torso, it makes for an easy joint for the abdominal area to slot into, but it does weaken the leg joint overall, so be careful when you're gluing it. I kept all these upper torsos of the 8-bound too, since I have a fun project for them in mind. Test fitting the abdominal and chest sections before gluing is really important. Understanding the dynamism of the miniature, its direction of movement, and rotation of the core axis are crucial aspects to the correct pose when converting any piece. By rotating the abdominal and chest section, I'm looking for the most natural pose, which also conveys a sense of weight in the armor and menace in the posture. Once I'm happy with how this is looking, I'll start gluing things together, beginning with the abdominals and letting them set before adding the upper chest. I prepared the helmet by removing the bunny ears from a 30k veteran and shaving down the area. It's also vital to remove the neck joint and carve away a little of the helm underside. This will allow it to slot nicely into the Terminator chest piece. It usually takes a few tries to get this correct, so procedurally test fit and pare back as needed. For some extra flair on this miniature, I added the bunny ears from an old Berserker kit, which seemed to work really well on Terminators for some reason. I believe it was Telemachus from Discord who first discovered this, so all credit to him. For the arms, again, I wanted to move away from the bare arm look in the 8-bound kit, so I used Terminator arms. I got the claws off this one so I could fit it with the Exalted 8-bound chain fist. This brings back some of the World Leader's brutality while still making sure the miniature is armed with the appropriate weapons for the unit. Adding the two pieces together is a little bit fiddly and will require some careful chopping and maneuvering, and this is one of the trickier parts of the build. For the Eviscerator, I decided to go with a reverse grip because I love anime. I'm actually using Zufur the Impaler's arm for this since I had it lying around. I also used the axe handle for the remainder of the Eviscerator. While that's drying, I glued in the chain fist hand and used the shoulder pad from the out of production Forge World Terminator upgrade set. After adding the Eviscerator arm, it was all about making sure I was happy with the pose, taking some time to examine the model before slotting in the head in a suitably menacing glare at his next opponent. Now it is on to some fun extras. Once the miniature is fully set, after a couple of hours, I drilled some holes for trophy spines on the top of the armor. I'm actually using Tyranid bits for these spikes, but honestly anything works. I chose them because they are super tall and very extra looking, perfect for the grimdark style. I also added some tattered robes and jewelry chain to make the miniature look aged and tell a little bit of a story, indicating they've been chained up before being unleashed on the battlefield. These little extra details will often sell the conversion. Finally, I use liquid green stuff to smooth out any gaps in the miniature around limb joints or in the head area before letting that set for 24 hours. After the mini had fully set, I primed it up and painted it using my standard Grimdark World Leaders colour scheme. I actually painted this guy over on our Twitch channel, which is live twice a week on Monday and Thursday, so if you haven't already checked it out, be sure to stop in for some chill painting vibes. For now though, that is more or less the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed watching the process of bringing together a somewhat unique take on the 8-bound, and I'd love to see your own versions too. If you haven't dropped into our Discord to engage in the conversation, you are missing out, so check out the links below. And if you want focused feedback on your own painting or hobbying, you can join our hobby focused Patreon tier, which gives you access to our Patreon painting channel on Discord as well. As always, drop us a like, follow and subscribe here to show support to the channel. It really helps us out. But until the next one, I've been Dara and you've been watching The Red Path. So stay healthy, stay safe and kill, maim, burn.